Музыка Денис Шеда.
And all I have to say is, drizzle, drizzle.
Cursed be the ground for our sake. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for us. For out of the ground we were taken, for the dust we are. And to the dust we shall return.
You can't win, you can't break even, and you can't get out of the game. People keep saying things are gonna change, but they look just like they stay the same. You're getting way over your head, and you only got yourself to blame. You can't win, child, can't break even, can't get out of the game. Yeah.
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
All right, you dusty denizens. Okay, and this is gonna be a heavily Jermaine's fault. I should say episode. I'm trying to get my thoughts together because I was on one of my shows, well, my in shows in real life, which is a female-centered show, and they were talking about what's wrong with black women. And what's wrong with black women always came back to Jermaine. Okay, the position that they were put in, and and then because of Jermaine being inadequate, she was put in the position of being masculine, being head of the household, being strong, and all the other sundry things that are wrong with her. So this is going to be a heavily, uh, it's always Jermaine's fault, which, the title of the show is actually taken from the video I'm going to use in a minute. Okay. But on the brighter side, let's welcome people in as usual. Because, people ask me, how come I always take time to, especially on these lives, to welcome people in? It's because you guys have been with me for such a long time. It's been 10 years, man. I don't expect it to be here for 5. And you guys have donated. You supported me when I was getting ready to quit. You convinced me not to quit. So a lot of these lives are, I could do just pre-recorded and stuff like that. But a lot of these lives is a thank you, which is the lives that should begin that way, is a thank you to the people that support me. So the reason I shout you guys out at the beginning of the show is because you guys are there for me. And I want to make sure that as much as I can to recognize your sacrifice every show. So that's why for anybody that says I take too much time, shouting out people at the beginning of the show, okay, you just have to deal with it. Okay. You have to deal with it. And I know it's boring. I don't get right into the topic. I know it's slow. It slows the show down. So be it. Okay. But that's why I do it as an explanation. Anyhow, Mr. Heat is number 1, holding the spot for Adric. Okay. Inspired Truth, what's going on? Adric is 3rd this time. Toya with Apple, what's going on? Ilias, what's happening? Mr. Shug to you, what's happening? Barry Little, one of my day ones. Salute. Nothing wrong with someone that empowerment, money, peace, and out of mind can't fix. Yeah, it's gonna get deep. Rain Lab, what's going on? Royal Priest, what's up, Eddie? Yep, I'm punching the clock. Man, I almost didn't do it today, man, because I was feeling a little down. Much respect to a walking encyclopedia of Black American and world history. Appreciate you, Most Vet. Red Pill Sleeper, what's up, Louie? Snowman, what's up? He's on Dead Circle, okay. Let's see what we got. Trail, what's happening? Shannon Moore. There's his Dusty Instant Media on Transporter Pad 7. Navone, what's happening? AL, what's up? 2 more days until, okay, I don't got it. Brother Truth Be Told, what's going on? Fernando, what's going on? Brooklyn's Finest, what's going on? Quentin, what's happening? Noir, what's going on? Kelvin, what's going on? Cutting Up with the Joneses, what's up? What's up? Jay Will, Ash B, what's going on? Micah L, what's going on? Hi Scholar, what's going on? We need some videos from you, Hi Scholar. Where you been? I ain't got enough PhDs in the space right now. Xerxes, what's going on? Watching 2024. When you say black men, do you mean intelligent international black men, or Pookie and Ray Ray and Doodoo with 12 baby mamas? Tale of Two Cities. What it takes everybody to make a village, man. Basically, Pookie and Ray Ray and Doodoo and all in the homosexuals filled a need inside the ecosystem, right? There's a whole lot of angry black women that wouldn't be around or be trying to kill us if it wasn't for Pookie and Ray Ray, slinging dick. Okay. The Watcher. Okay. What's going on? Michael, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Naima? A title, Dear Papa, sooner. It's never gonna happen. Well, there is called Papa. Papa was a Rolling Stone, right? The Aquavius. What's going on? Barry Hamilton, what's going on? Let's see what else you got. Paul, yeah, you caught me live. Yeah, Paul. Yeah, Paul. Yeah, Yeah, Paul get me in trouble in real life. Okay. Well, guess what? The crusty ghetto mama bonnets are not going anywhere because and the more we don't like them, the more they'll keep them. Chaos Rain, what's happening? Mr. Donnie Mack, Barry Hamilton, Dayron, what's going on? Mental OG, what's up, man? Compassionate and Callous. What do you think about my last two shorts, Compassionate? Dr. D, what's going on? J Mar, Marcus B2B, what's going on? Count Sekou, Karma's Bodybuilder, what's happening? Babu Machiria, what's going on? Incognito, what's going on? KT Machine, what's going on? Michael Turner, what's happening? Tunnel Runner, what's going on? Dante, what's going on? Resurrection Minds, you don't have to explain yourself. I don't always agree with you, but you are solid. Appreciate you, man. What's going on, little bro? Pimp God, what's happening? The Watcher, what's going on? AHG, what's going on? Waffle Weed, what's happening? Clayton Morrow, what's going on? Thank you for all you do. Appreciate you, man. Emmanuel Sepu, what's happening? Afro National. Sidereal, what's going on? Supreme Pivot, what's happening? G Jones. Ray, what's going on? Supreme Pivot. Okay, hit the like button. Dante says, put some spec on that like button. Mr. Heat, appreciate you, man. I'm humbled. Money Motion, what's going on? KMS, what's happening? The problem with black men is we have this foolish notion that we should be treated and respected as men. Oh, and the whole wanting our humanity recognized thing. Oh, and breathing air, big problem. There, by golly, I heard that, man. You know KMS more than I do, okay? And you one of them dudes, and you still get treated that way. So you got Mr. Heaton and KMS is one of them dudes. They know what I'm talking about, man. You know, money don't change much, okay? Kobe, appreciate you. Let's see. Oh, Ash Beef. Oh, okay. Maybe one day you come on and tell us about it. Because that's a huge story, man, in the black community. That's a huge story, man. There's a lot of stuff I don't tell about myself. And one of those things are one of my problems. I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. Too many secrets in the black community. Top Notch Rocker, what's happening? Dookie Blasma Game, what's going on? Said High Scholar said he's got something coming. Jeremiah Wins, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Mike? Yeah, okay, you can come up. All right. Detroit 313. I'm Latwan. What's going on? Rocky, what's going on? KT Machine. What's up, Jesse? Alan Lavelle, what's going on? Very little. BGS never give crash out Keisha an even break tax. Thanks for all you do. You've saved a lot of brothers' lives. Appreciate you, man. Versatile Poetry, what's happening? Lawrence, what's going on?
Hey, brother, what's going on? Can you hear me good?
I got you, man. Just let me finish the acknowledgments and I drop right in, okay? Alan Lavelle, appreciate you. That's the maestro. Okay, Ms. Pookie and Ray provide comfort and
yes, sir.
Yeah, and penis to the unwashed masses of black women's asses. In a morbid way, they are unsung hero keepers of a little sanity. The scavengers have their place, man. They do. TJ Insane. Stan, what's going on? Dr. Thunder. There's Woo Man Charles. Trail. Anubis. What's going on, Anubis? Ken C and Red and LAPD SWAT. Let's see. MPRG, Barrel Hammer, and Lee Ollie. Okay, Will AR, what's going on? All right, go ahead. What's up, Mike? You can unmute. Okay, he'll be back. So Indigo Flow.
Can you hear me better?
I got you.
Is that better?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Dropped out. He'll be back. Whenever you get it together, man, just pop back in. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start with the shorts since I have this. Oh, there he is. Okay, there he is. All right.
How was that?
That's good.
Okay, yeah, I think I had a little delay. Look here, man. Look here, man. I've been weeping all day.
Oh, really? Okay. Why so?
And I've been crying all day.
Okay.
And I wanted to come on here and tell you
Uh-huh.
that my baby got a semi-pro contract in Spain.
Woo!
I had to send my baby off today.
Woo! All right.
Ain't
All right.
a damn thing wrong with us.
But the thing is, if you had left him with his mother, she said, my baby can't go to Spain by himself because it's too dangerous, wouldn't she?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Look here, talking about I find him a financial advisor,
Mm-hmm.
and I found somebody to help. I said, you ain't did shit, but you want control of the money. That's a
Yes.
damn lie. That ain't gonna never happen. Yeah, if it wasn't for y'all, I don't know what the fuck would have happened to my baby.
It wasn't for you. It wasn't for you, man.
No, I know, but I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Deeply. Can't even thank y'all enough. Well, he got a pro contract, so they had 3 tiers.
Uh-huh.
He was on the lower tier team.
Yeah, don't matter.
The lady did a conference Thursday and said, hey, we got a surprise for y'all at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the lower tier team. The lady at the end of the little presentation goes, 4 of the players got injured. Couldn't fill out the roster. She said, congratulations, C team. You just made it to B team.
Okay. All right.
I said, Josh, do you know what this means? And he's like, yeah, just one more step to being pro. I said, his mom said, yeah, one more step to being pro. I said, that's not what that means.
Yeah.
That means if that first stringer on the A team gets injured, you get pulled up automatically.
Yeah. It doesn't matter about that. I used to tell my grandson, right? Because he was dancing for the Sparks, right? Hip hop. He was 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody talk about the money. I said, I don't give a fuck about the money.
I don't give a fuck about the money. I told him this right here. I said, Josh, if you make $40,000 a year contract, pays all your bills as an 18-year-old man, about to be 19-year-old man, you made it.
You made it, yeah. And doing what you love on top of that.
Doing what you love on top of that.
And learning because you're playing with better players on top of that. So you learn.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He went to Germany. He got his team got their ass kicked because they had just put the team together real quick and then just sent him over there for a 10-day showcase.
Yeah.
He said one of the guys over there was just built like Charles.
Yeah.
Just built like Charles, big and fast.
Yeah.
He said, man, this dude, Josh said, I tried to spin him.
Yeah.
He said, as soon as I spent, he put his arm on my shoulder and planted me in the ground. He said, I said, how old was he? He said, I think he was in his 30s. I said, that's grown man strength. I said, how much was he worth? He said, man, that dude, he goes, I think that he was late 20, he was 28 and the dude was worth $32 million. I said, that's what $32 million gets you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just told him, I said, just keep pushing. I said, see all the people that I advised. I said, Josh, ain't none of this my idea. I'm too stupid. I'm too stupid, too dumb to come up with this stuff. I just listen to people that know what they talking about, and I trust the men in my group. And we got you where you at today.
Yeah.
And so I sent my baby off to Malaga, Spain today to play on a semi-pro contract.
Oh, hallelujah, man.
And I just wanted to come up here and tell y'all ain't nothing wrong with us.
Hey, man, like the kid with the let's say throwing starfish's back, right?
Yeah.
Like 10,000 starfish on the beach, right? He's throwing them back one at a time, right? And the guy comes down and sees all these starfish, sees the little kid throwing them back in the ocean, right? And he said, you can't save them all. He said, no, but I saved that one.
Yeah, right.
You can't save them all, but we saved that one.
I said, went back and saved my baby, man. And I want to thank y'all so much. This whole space, this black hole that I fell into.
Yeah.
And I appreciate y'all through the years helping me with my anger, helping me grow my patience, my understanding, even more my love for us and my love for other people.
Yeah.
My vision, my insight. I tell everybody, they look at me, I say, man, I'm 98% accurate. And that ain't got nothing to do with me. It's just development and the tutelage and the understanding of this group and
Yeah.
what thinking black men do to each other. They make each other better,
Yeah.
even though we in different parts of the nation, different parts of the world, and I just want to come up here and tell you guys, man, if it weren't for y'all pouring into me, helping pour into me, and I can pour into him and give him some insight.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, the plan that I put together for you, Josh, I said, when you were over in Germany, how far off was I? He said, you weren't far off. I said, now imagine if you had just did everything I told you to do. He said, yeah. He goes, my game would be on point. He said, I'm going to get there. So when he went to Germany, they jumpstart that engine for him. He says, now I know how I have to train to compete, to be on that level, and to pull a pro contract. And I said, you can do it, man.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to come up and say thank y'all, man. Thank you, BGS, man. I appreciate you even being in this space. I know you don't have to be here, man.
No,
I know. I know you don't have to be, but I know you are, and I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I know you could. I know you could have what they say sold out a long time ago. You and I talked offline, so I know.
You don't know, man. Oh man. Okay. Yeah.
I appreciate you, man, for sticking with us knuckleheads and niggas that don't like to read and these cats. I appreciate you, man. I got too much love for you, and I got too much love for the men in this space, man. Like I said, I couldn't have done this without y'all. I mean, just hearing the fatherly stories from every last one of y'all and how y'all want to raise your children.
Yeah,
I just want to thank y'all.
I remember we told you to go get him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, don't worry about it, go get him.
Yeah, and we ain't got him. You know what I'm saying? His mom up there trying to take credit. Well, I always thought a man should raise a boy. You didn't think that's on first years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now the real fight begins when it's who has control over what. Yeah. And so, now I got to go do the behind the scenes and put my foot up in her behind with lawyers and all that other kind of shit.
But you got him in the door, man. That's all you can do.
That's all that matters, man.
Get him in the door. And then after that, then he has to make a decision which route he wants to take. But
and I told him about your son and just how your son was there. Yeah. And all he had to do was just take 10% and just do what he told you to do.
Yep.
He'd be in the NBA right now. And I said, Josh, it's just little things like that, man. I says, you got to realize it's hard being up there because there's so much attention, so much power, so much access. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to put them blinders on like them horses, so.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it like a WNBA, right? Caitlin Clark don't have half the talent that Angel Reese has, right?
Right.
And half the talent, right? Why is she so much better?
Yeah.
Because she works hard, okay?
She worked hard, yeah.
And she believes in herself. Angel Reese don't take it seriously, right?
Yep.
Angel Reese, guess what? Angel Reese had a mother. Caitlin Clark had a father that had his foot up her ass.
Yep, absolutely.
That's the difference, okay?
Absolutely. So I just want to thank you, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for letting me up, man. Like I said, I thought today you'd appreciate it most of all, man.
Man. Hey, man, I started to have to hang up because I get ready to cry myself. So,
hey, man. Look, I couldn't have done it without you.
Say, Mike, fuck you, man. You fucking up my show. Gonna make an old nigga cry on. Look at that old nigga cry.
Yeah, look at. I figure if it got on me, nigga, it got to get on you. So share some of this happiness and joy that I have, man. I appreciate y'all so much, man.
Yep. Yes,
sir. Yes, sir. Love y'all, man. Every one of y'all. Love y'all.
I know you just put him on the flame. I would tell you, give him a big hug for me, man.
I did. I told him. I said, look, I walk in there. The night before we just kind of hung out.
Yeah.
And then, before we get on the plane, give him a big hug. And like I told him, you're the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And so I had to turn him away quick and send him on his way. I'm holding it in.
Yeah.
And on the way to the car, it just let all out, man. So I'm just so happy, nervous, and scared for him, but more importantly, excited for his opportunity, man. Then I told him flat out, like you've told us for years, man. You guys got to get an exit plan. You got to get out this motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
You got to have options to get out this motherfucker.
And basically, this is what this show is going to be about. In fact, I got to follow this up with a morning talk. I got to go on a ramble, man, because and I love my mentor, man. She's a gynocrat. She's very wise woman, been around, she's damn near 80 years old, man. Knows a lot of shit, and there's some stuff that I realized that that black men can't fix this shit, man.
Yeah, we can't.
We can't fix this shit,
We can't.
and there's a good reason for it. That's why I'm getting ready to go on to in this show. But I'm glad, man. I'm glad you trusted us enough to go get your son.
Yes, absolutely, man. And I appreciate, all the pouring in and all the examples of the other fathers in this space that got their sons. And hopefully I've been able to give back as much as possible and being able to be an example for you guys, man. So
you already have, man, because you're a case study. In other words, we saved one, okay, and you can save others. All you have to do is believe. In fact, that's why we're going to go into my. I'll tell you a little bit about my morning talk. Right? Is that we were, this whole big thing, and it's a female show, so I hold back. So, and
of course,
the question was asked about what happened about it kept getting back to the point where there's no fathers in the home, there's no fatherly examples, blah blah blah, and men won't come back and mentor. And I said, well, why don't you just give the boys to their fathers? And then the whole stream of tropes. They ain't got no money, they don't have no jobs, they don't want their kids, and all the things that you can think of. Okay. Which isn't true. But the thing is, all these excuses about why you could not entrust your sons to their father.
I'm starting to see a lot more videos of these ladies come online screaming, "I can't do nothing with them." Once that testosterone hit, you can't control some testosterone. Hell, we barely can control that shit. So
why wait till he's 13 instead of when he's 3?
Yeah, exactly.
Like my grandson started when he was 2.
Yeah, I told my son that. I said, before I left, by the grace of God, I put enough fear in you.
Yes.
That I could force. I didn't have to use so much force application on you when you did come to live with me.
Yeah,
you made that choice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so it's been a hell of a journey. It's definitely been tough. I said, if you see me now, I have gray in my beard.
Yeah. I mean, it was rough, and a lot of times he was getting. I know you told me he was ready to buck because it was hard. But now he sees. Okay,
he see that's what it was. I told him. I said, Josh, I've been having to put you on my back to lift you, and now that you had an experience in Germany in July, now you see what I'm trying to show you.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, what you're trying to show me is years from now. I said, that's all I wanted you to do. I knew as soon as you put your eyes on it, you had the gift that you would see 5 years from now. This is going to be a whole new world. And only the young men who are productive and stay productive and do the work are going to be able to survive. The rest of us old fucks and the rest of us people that don't want to work, we're not going to be able to make it, man. This is going to be a high performance society where you have AI systems everywhere competing with you everywhere. You know what I mean?
We got people in spaces like Theo Waff, Mookie. He ain't got to be in here doing this shit. Mookie's a millionaire. Okay. And he's trying to pour into black men what he's acquired over the last 30 years. Okay. And doing it for virtually nothing. Okay. I can't.
You know what he's got to do. He's got to go create an avatar that's white. Charge $1,000 for the course, and them niggas will sign up for that shit. You know what he got to do.
I know what he got to do.
But I know he loves us and he loves black men, and I definitely want to just come up here and tell you guys that I love y'all, black men, deeply and profusely.
Yeah.
And hold y'all in such high regard, just as I hold myself in such high regard. That we all we got. Yeah. And that is the God's honest truth. With God's love and mercy and grace, we all we got, man. Because at the end of the day, BJS, you were absolutely right 5 years ago. They plan on leaving us back here to die.
Yeah, they are.
They literally plan on leaving us back here to die.
They are. Yeah. And you gotta. You are the cannon. You are the material that they step on to elevate themselves. Unfortunately.
Yeah, to elevate themselves. Yeah, I tell my son, no one will step on you. Yeah. Their footing will fall. Yeah. You will be going on to the next level because there won't be no stepping to get these young men out of the way, and so they don't have to be no stepping stone for nobody else.
That's why they're trying to pull them back into the black community to be stepping stones again. I said, nope, not this time.
Yeah, not this time. And I love the fact that every other content creator 3 years ago that was going at you adamantly.
Yeah,
that the poison got turned up so much that they finally are starting to say the same thing you're saying now. Yeah, we can't fix this, man.
Yeah, we
We,
can't
we
fix
we can't fix this, man. This is too rampant. This is too egregious. And on top of that, at least 3 years ago, we had a good economy.
Yeah.
5 years ago, at least a decent economy, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, man, people can't afford rent. You know what I mean? I don't want, and like I told my son, I don't want no woman that's going to be submissive and obedient for no money. That's
Yeah.
a submissive prostitute.
Yeah.
That's an obedient prostitute. You
Yeah.
follow me? I want
Yeah.
you to want to do that stuff, even if the environment's good or bad. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
And
well,
he said the same thing you said.
what's that?
He said when he went to Germany for a 10-day showcase,
Uh-huh.
he said, "Dad, two things. You were right, and I'll let you go." I said, "What's up?" He goes, "I ain't seen no fat people." He said, "Maybe two." I said, "Were they fat or just husky fat?" He go, "Husky fat." And he said, and here go the second thing. He said, everywhere we went, girls would approach us.
Yeah.
Everywhere we went. I said, well, and I said, I bet they weren't ugly. He said, not a one ugly one approached me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I told you, get your behind out of the States.
Yeah.
Go overseas. I said, now your job is to not fall for the femininity,
Mm-hmm.
to stay balanced in the middle. Non-feminine women, and then you got too heavily feminine women,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your job is to stay on purpose, to stay on track no matter what.
No matter what. No matter what. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And accept the goods when they come. And
Yeah.
things, your mission, your purpose are first.
Yeah,
Always.
and that's what I told him. I said, your God first and your mission purpose second. I said, shoot. I said, Josh, she can't help but be 4 or 5. I said, your God first. I said, your health second.
Mm-hmm.
I said, third is your mission. Fourth is you.
Yeah.
So she can't help but get fit.
Yeah.
And I said, don't ever let nobody help you do this. And I said, here's 2 things you got to realize. I says, young men are being raised to do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
Young women are raised to be selfish. You're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do both. You're supposed to be learned in both.
Yeah.
Right. I says, but my job is to raise you in selfishness and what's right.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's right don't mean it's the right thing to do for you.
And
You know what I mean?
You're a nurse. What's the first order of survival? Put the mask on yourself first, right?
Put the mask on yourself first. And so that has been tough getting him there. But I think him seeing more of these people and all this selfishness going on around right now. I said, Josh, sometimes when in Rome, you got to act like the Romans, but be selfish in the right way for your team, for your teammates, for the brotherhood, for things of that nature. You know. So.
Yep.
But again, I thank y'all so much, man. Couldn't have done it without y'all. I really do appreciate y'all blessing my life. I love every last one of y'all. Thanks, BJ.
Oh, yeah, we had to bust your balls, man. But thing is, you had to listen. You had to execute it.
Yeah, that's what I'm. But you know, my biggest eye open didn't come until, man, I missed that man, Kevin.
Kevin, yeah.
When I got on that panel, most people don't know that I got on panel with Kevin before Kevin was even doing the show.
Yeah.
Sliced my ass the fuck up.
Like, yeah.
You and him both did that.
Yeah.
Sliced my ass up. But it opened my eyes. It got the cataracts out of my eyes. So I really could see.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So you can do what you need to do for him. Yep.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, Mike. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. And said, Ag Deemer says, salute Sensei. I second our brother's appreciation. In the tradition of the Gnostics, you are here to enlighten our dusty cerebral cortex. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. The civilians are getting to me. But anyway, let me go ahead and get this started, man, while I have my composure before I start crying, man, because that was about 6 years ago when we talked to Mike. They live, and me and Kevin in the middle of the night, man, it's got to be like 3 o'clock in the morning, man, digging in his ass, telling him he need to go get his son and man up and damn all that. Stop listening to that woman, okay? Go get your son and fuck everything else. And the thing is, you have to be a tough coach, okay? You got to put a foot up his ass because you got to get him ready. And he did that. That was 6 years ago. The boy wasn't even 13 yet. And he did it. He executed, and this is the reward on the other side. He's proud because his son has made it, and his son gets to all the benefits of all this stuff that we do. So it's, like I said, it's not useless. It's not for nothing. So anyway, it says Joe's with $10. Appreciate you. That is what I'm saying is, I don't talk about it that much because a lot of this stuff is offline. A lot of this stuff I get in comments, and I get them in emails and stuff like that. And I'm humbled because I'm just a vessel for this information. That's all I am, right? I'm a conduit for this, and I'm humbled because because I'm here to do it, and it makes me feel good, and it makes me feel that I'm actually contributing something to the planet, to my people. I left the white manosphere. I could have been up there with Coach Greg and folks over there in the white manosphere, but I came over here because I came here to talk to black men. Okay, YouTube hates me because of the shit that I say. Okay, they hate me. They step all over my channel. They take they unsubscribe people. They demonetize me all the time. But thing is, I'm not here for money. I'm not here for fame. I'm not here to be popular. Okay, I'm a Gnostic, and my mission is to bring what I know to the to my group. That's my mission, and that's why I'm here. So anyway, before I start tearing up again, let me go ahead and get the show started. So, yeah, I said, yeah, fuck you, Mike, ruining my show like that. Anyhow, let's start with this one, okay? Let's start with this one. I did this one a while back, okay? These two a while back. This is actually from Shay Charday's show. This is from Shay Charday's show, maybe 2-3 years ago, okay? Maybe 2-3 years ago. No. They don't. They don't like my content. They do not. But I do this like 2-3 years ago. Okay, this is black men starting a hole, right?
Black men are hard to know, non-emotional, hard to get to know. Whatever her thought is around that, like that's going to impact all the way down. So if she believes that about black men, and then she feels closed off herself, and then feels like she needs to be guarded and act hard, I don't know, then that's the experience that she's always going to have with black men.
Yep.
If she thinks white men are the king and are emotionally available and there for her and do all this other stuff, she's going to feel more respected and more loved. Therefore, she's going to act different. So unfortunately, I feel like for a lot of black men, they're starting probably in a hole, whereas white men are starting on a pedestal. And if we're really getting into the race thing and you're wanting to like break that down.
Did she just say that, man? We got to clip that. I'm going to clip that one.
So if that.
In other words, basically, and this is the problem, okay? It's the perception of black men, okay? Jermaine starts in a hole, right? Okay, it's not what Jermaine is doing; it's how Jermaine is thought of. Okay, and the second one I did from that one, okay. This is the second one I did from the same presentation, right? And this is Shay Charday talking to a white girlfriend who dated white men and then married a white man. I said, DJ Dalton says, "Oh, appreciate you. Thank you. We just keep teaching, sir." I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Certain idea about people that's impacting everything else.
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense. If you're coming into a relationship and you're already assuming that this white man is going to treat me, white men are more romantic, which is something that I've heard. What white men are more submissive. Well, you heard that.
And then you wonder why black men marry white women. Or Asian women or whoever else. If that's what you think about black men, you know what I mean? Why would they want to date you?
Ooh,
why would they want to date you?
Ooh, say that again, white girl. Say that again. In other words, if that's what you believe and that's how you act, and what you believe shows up in your actions, okay, that's what you believe about black men, then and you believe that they're emotionally unavailable, they're no good, they're unreliable, yada yada yada, and white men are all other men are differently. Why do you expect black men to take maltreatment from you? Okay, why would they date you? Okay, if that's what you believe the worst about black men. And shout out to black men because y'all, I have to give y'all credit, man. Y'all take the more punishment from your women than any other group on the planet. Okay, no other group on the planet takes this kind of punishment. Okay. No other, no, in other words, no other men on the planet take this kind of punishment from their women. And I was just going through the same, and I love my, I've been with my mentor on her show for God, it's got to be 15 years, right? 15 years I've been with her, right? And I know her. I've known her for 30. I've been on her show for 15 years. Lovely woman. She dearly loves the black community and she loves black men. But the thing is, this belief about black men is so concrete, it's ridiculous, man. It's so solidified. And that's why I was kind of saddened. So and I was gonna do this show anyway, but the thing is it got me more emotional about this show, okay? About how about the whole community because the one thing that they were saying is that uh, they're saying the same thing they always say that black men needs it's because there's no men there's single mothers and there's no fathers in the home and there's no men around that it's black men's fault and single black men that have no kids need to step in and fill that gap because you guys have fallen down on the job, okay? And damn why the men aren't there. That's never discussed why the men aren't there. That's never discussed why she would have. And I actually said, I said, why would you have a baby wipe by your concubine? Okay, he's just there for sex. Why would you have a baby for? Well, why is he having sex with her? Like I said, at the end of the day, guess what?
I'm done. I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
When you wonder why I play, there's a reason I play those last two these series of videos every show. Okay, I'm trying to inoculate you against this crap that's going on out there, right? In other words, they're gonna call you dusty, they're gonna call you no good, they're gonna say that everything's your fault and that you can't win in this system. That's why I play it. Not to harp on it, not to bore you, but things to inoculate. If you take this poison enough, you actually start to get resistant to the goddamn poison. Okay, that's why I play it like that, to inoculate you from the goddamn poison in this gynocratic system. Okay, that's why I do it. Anyway, let's get to the second piece, and then we get to the main piece of the part that I'm trying to get to. See if I got it. Da-da-da-da-da. I know I have it. Yeah, there's that one. And there was another one that I actually wanted. Oh, this one. Okay. This is the one. Well, since it's up, I might as well start it.
Today we're
I'm going to see if I can find the part because I listened to the whole thing. And this lady was saying some of the same. Remember the stuff remember the stuff that Francis Cress Wilson was saying last week about why black women feel some kind of way about black men dating out and why black women date out and that kind of shit. And there was an excuse. There was a reason for it, right? And I always come back to what black men lacking, right? Okay. I do believe she's going to go into a little bit of this. Let's see if this is a part.
Right. You ghost them, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be understanding that this is how they're operating. And I totally agree with you, Tequila. I think it creates a challenge for women who are dating seriously and who don't want to settle and figuring out how do we now strategize to make sure that we are mindful of saying, like, if I want to be in a specific kind of relationship, I have to set up rituals of how we're going to treat ourselves earlier on. And they might not adhere to these rituals because they don't have to. Because they don't have to. And it doesn't mean that they're necessarily all bad guys.
Or that
but
they
it's like,
are a bad guy themselves.
Right. It's because, when you're allowed to play, if I can play in the pool and, there's no time that you have to get out, why am I getting out at 10 o'clock, right? If I can play until 1 a.m. So I think that that's the biggest challenge for the community now, because if you talk to most guys who are, over 30, they'll say they want to be in a relationship. They want a certain kind of woman. But in terms of the practicalities of having the tools and the focus to understand how to strategically date, it's very hard because, they're thinking with all kinds of heads, right? And it's very tempting to have so many women coming at you or just available.
Right. But why is it that black men are so much more open to dating outside their race?
So let's look at how we're socialized overall, right? So there is a hierarchy in terms of beauty. And when we look at that, who's at the top? You always see blonde, blue.
In other words, remember Sabrina Strings? What it said? What do all men want, right? Especially black men, right? Okay. What she say? Thin, white, straight hair, and compliant, right? Okay. She great. In other words, why do black men date out, right? She's actually going through the same thing, right? Beauty representation, right?
Hair, what is it, blue eye, blonde hair at the top. Those are the images, regardless of what's in your household. You can have the most pro-black household, unless you are living, someplace with no television, no radio, you're not going to see that. So we know that men in general are more visually stimulated. So when they're in their play phase, they'll date different types of women, right? But because of systemic racism, let's just call it what it is, our men have been taught through many reasons rather, that we aren't at the top of the food chain. So not only are we not at the top of the food chain in beauty, we're also not in the top of the food chain in terms of femininity.
See, there they go. Okay, there they go. Okay. In other words, they're blaming somebody else instead of themselves, right?
And why is that? We go back to that other statistic we talked about: men being out of the household and mom having to perform masculine.
Here we go. See, you see, men being out of the household and mom being forced to perform masculinity, right? Okay.
Duties.
Even though you go back, if you go back to prior to 1960, guess what? 80% of the black men were in the household. 80% of black families had a two-parent household. In fact, it was more than that. It's like 85%. Okay. Where'd you learn this shit from? Where'd you learn this shit from? The out of wedlock birth rate before 1960 was what? Maybe 15%. Okay. So 85% of all black children are born within wedlock. Where you learn this shit from?
Right. So if it's not mom, it could be auntie, it could be grandma. So now we're not looking at our women as the most beautiful or the person that needs to be doted on. And then what do the women do? Because you have to survive, you're what? You're strong. So that cape means I'm doing things that normally my feminine side isn't tapped into, and it makes it, it's just a cycle. And we know we talk about this all the time, but we don't think about how it affects the actual dating in the world. So when I'm going out as a girl who had single women around me, I'm thinking in a more masculine way. As a boy who had single women around me, I'm thinking that black women don't need me. Black women don't
continuously say we don't need you.
But we do, though.
But we do. We need you. We want you. We want to help you. We want to be helped by you. I need to be saved by you. And it's so hard for women to say those things.
Right. Well, here's a fact that many of us probably already know. According to the Pew Research Center, black men are twice as likely to marry outside their race than black women. So clearly the brothers are not afraid to swirl. So coming up, there are still so many misconceptions around interracial dating. It's time to play fact or fiction after the break.
Yeah. So I just wanted to play that for you as a precursor to what I'm getting ready to say, right? Basically, all this stuff is consistent, right? The same crap that Wellstein said, same shit that probably Murray said back in the 40s, okay? I think the book, their eyes were watching God. She wrote the book in the 30s. The same thing that Frazier said back in the fucking 30s, right? In the Negro family United States. The same shit keeps coming up over and over and over again, right? But the thing is, we keep blaming the men for this. It's always the men's fault, okay? It's always the fucking men's fault. Yeah, we don't need y'all, but we want y'all, okay? Okay? Same shit. Okay? And that shows up in your in the attitudes. The exact same shit. Okay? And we're gonna get to the highlight, right? Because like I said, I have to do I'm gonna have to do like a ramble on this, man, because I started to do it this morning. I said, nah, this show is based on this. I don't want to save some of this stuff for this show because and then Mike, calls with with his son and proves exactly why women should give their sons to their father, right? Okay. And he had to go make his ex-wife give up her son and convince him that you need to be with me. And convince him that, yeah, the task is going to be hard, but I got to get you ready. and the resistance of the mother to give the control over her son to the father. Okay. But anyway, this is the video that somebody sent me, and this, the thing is, I'm getting tired of hearing these things. But the thing is that what did Obsidian teach me? He said repetition is the father of skill. Okay. This is from Lady Boulay. Okay. This is what's wrong with black men, and since she talks very slowly, we are going to speed her up to like 1.5. Okay, because she's really slow. And you can tell she's like an old Southern woman by the way she speaks. And we're gonna go through this a little bit as much as we can, because I didn't expect Mike to show up, and we're almost at the top of the hour, but we'll give it a shot.
They can give you an earful about white men. If you talk to Asian or Hispanic women, you'll get an earful about the men in their communities.
Give me a one if you can hear her. Okay, give me a one if you can hear her.
But the difference is that these people are able to operate under the radar, and black people have never been able to operate under the radar. So we black people are always in the spotlight, and if it's something negative, that spotlight is going to shine so brightly on us that we aren't going to be able to see anything else. So the spotlight is on black men, and for this video, we're going to say that black men are responsible for most of the problems in the black community.
See that key, the thing that she said right there. Okay. That's a very key point right at the beginning. Okay, no mincing words. Right at the beginning. Okay, right at the beginning of the word. That's what they believe. Right at the beginning.
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
And it's Jermaine's fault, right? Anubis says with $49.99. Yep.
So the question is, what's wrong with black men? If you would listen to some, you just might come away with the impression that black men are just downright uncivilized.
Oh.
Well, why would this be the case? Well, let's look at the components of civilization. There are 7 components of civilization. They are social structure and family life. Father, head of the house, the mother's duties to take.
And guess who the biggest fighter against a patriarchy and father, head of the house? Guess who the biggest? Guess who does not want that? Guess who fights against that most? Okay. Guess who doesn't want it? Okay. Is it black men? What do they say? You just trying to put us back into slavery, right? That's what they believe, right? First thing she starts off with, right? Something they don't want, something they don't believe in. Yeah, she probably is a fan of Sinji, but guess what? A lot of black women feel this way. Even the best of them feel this way. Okay.
Take care of the children and the home. That's the first component of civilization. Number 2 is science and technology. We have that down, so we're good there. Number 3, economy and trade. The major society, the white folk take care of that, so that's working. Number 4, religion. Number 5, arts and education. Number 6, geography and agriculture. And number 7, government and leaders. Now, when we look at those 7 components, we can say out of the 7, the first one, the 4th one, the 5th one, and the 7th one are out of sync in the black community. So what's wrong with black men? Our civilization has broken down. Our society has broken down.
Our civilization in the United States is a European civilization, right? Okay. Black people themselves don't make up a civilization. We make up a subgroup in a society, right? Black people don't have their own society. Okay, they act like black people are in a bubble. It's as if black women have been quoting and biting off D.W. Griffith for the last century. I'm amazed how far back this goes. Goes back before him.
Four of the major components of a civilization are dysfunctional in our communities. That's what's wrong with black men. It's affecting them more than it is black women. Black women are handling it better. But black men know that they're supposed to do something about this, and they don't know what to do.
In other words, that they are supposed to do something about this, right? And like I said, it's always Jermaine's fault. Black women have no agency in this. even though they're the agents of disruption.
The family structure, the religious structure, the educational structure, and the leadership structure, they're all dysfunctional. That's what's wrong with Black men. Of those 4 components, I couldn't decide which one to talk about. So I put them in a hat, so to speak. And I decided I'm going to talk about the one that I draw. So I drew education. So this video is about Black boys and the American education
Here we
system.
here
and
we
I
here we
believe
go.
that this is a good place to start.
Here we go. Okay. Here we go. As it's supporting the good work, your work, and the work of Dr. Johnson have helped me immensely. Appreciate you, man. Said I share it with my other brothers in corporate, and it's helped pull many away from that ledge. Oh man, I'm glad, man. I'm glad. That's the whole thing, man. Okay. All we can do is teach one so that each one can teach one. Okay. The problem with Black men is that Black men are Black. This is becoming more apparent every goddamn day. Thank you, social media and Black Swan of Black women's draconic talking points. Oh man, it's not man. Anyhow,
All right. Although the home typically would be the best place. But since I drew education, I'm going to talk about education. In most communities, the emphasis is on educating boys. Boys will become men. Men are the leaders, the providers, and the protectors of the home and the culture. So it's important that boys have a way of making a living, making money, and taking care of the society in which he lives. But in the Black community, the emphasis has always been on education.
on educating girls, exactly. Okay. Okay. Has been on educating girls. There's a whole story behind that, but we'll let this play.
Educating girls. Why would this be the case? The problem goes all the way back to slavery. It really does. Male slaves were worth more money than female slaves. A healthy young male slave could turn a poor white man into a wealthy man almost single-handedly. How, you might say? Well, in the day when cotton was king, a male slave that I just described, healthy and young, could pick anywhere from 300 to 400 pounds of cotton in a day. It takes 1,000 pounds of cotton to make a bale. A male slave could pick 2 bales of cotton in less than a week because they worked Monday through Saturday from can to can, as they say, from the time that you can see daylight until the time that you can't. So a male slave was worth much more than a female. By the end of the cotton season, one slave had put a poor man on his way to gaining wealth. So after a hearty season, they just kept buying more slaves and making more money. But they started with that one slave, okay? When slavery ended, it really didn't end. Through the illicit laws and the Compromise of 1877, they were able to re-enslave Black people for almost another 100 years. And this practice kept going. The Black male making money, trying to sharecrop with dishonest people. And I'm going to say it that way. They entered into the Jim Crow system in which Black men were the chief breadwinners for the Black and the white people. And this has to be made very clear. Black people were taking care of those.
But the thing is, do Black men get credit for taking care of the family back then? Okay, by being worked to death. Do Black men get credit for that shit? Okay. Even Cynthia G doesn't give Black men credit for the family surviving by the bent of his labor, okay, or by him risking his life just being in this fucked up society. Okay, well they recognize it. Okay, at least you recognize it that Black men were actually the machine that the whole United States ran off of.
Those white people. So the Black man's labor was instrumental in keeping the American economy stabilized. Also, during the Jim Crow era, land grant and private colleges were being built for African Americans. There were 2 things happening here, and they were almost opposite of each other. There was a need to keep Black males in the cotton fields, working and making money for the economy, although they weren't making very much money themselves. But there was another serious problem that Black people were concerned about. The sexual abuse of Black women and girls that had begun in slavery was still going on in the Jim Crow system because Black women were still working in those plantation homes. So the men still had access to them. Black people desperately wanted to get those girls out of the domestic service business and into college so that they could make money outside of domestic service. Black families did not prefer Black girls going to college over Black boys. It was a matter of economic.
You just said they preferred Black girls going to college over Black boys. Okay, I'm not. Doesn't mean the goddamn reason why. Okay, you sacrificed your boys for the sake of the girls. Okay, that's what you did. Now, is there a reason for it? Sure, but but you don't even recognize the sacrifice that you did to your boys and how you held them back. Okay, that's not recognized. Even now, it's not recognized.
They could barely make it in the sharecropping system because, as I said before, they were dealing with dishonest people. They needed those boys working, and they wanted those girls out of those homes because we know that this is where the biracials started. We know that. The number of Black girls in school and eventually in college always outnumbered the number of Black boys.
They let them tell it wasn't true. They let them tell it they were barefoot and pregnant and being suppressed by Papa. Okay, you let them tell it, especially the fucking divestors, right? Papa was taking it. Papa was abusing these women. Papa was didn't care about Black women. Papa was all this kind of stuff, right? But the thing is, they got their education on the back of Black boys. Okay, because the white man did not want the Black men to read. And the black girls did not want. Toni Morrison said the same thing, right? Her brothers went to work, dropped out of school, and went to work so that she wouldn't have to serve in a white lady's home for that very reason. She said it. Her brothers sacrificed themselves so that she could get an education. But now all that shit is forgotten.
This happened throughout Jim Crow and segregation. Black boys were the afterthought in education.
Yes.
Then enters integration. By the mid-60s, when integration began, the sharecropping days were mostly over, but the damage was done. The schools desegregated, and then here comes another monster. And that is the monster called the virtue of white women. And this is overlooked when we talk about the educational failure of Black men. When we were in the segregated schools in the South, and I am speaking about Southern Black culture, our teachers related to us both culturally and emotionally. They knew our parents. We went to church together. We had school events, ball games.
Yeah, but it didn't help. That shit doesn't help if your Black boy has to drop out of school in sixth grade. So that your sisters and the girls can continue on to middle school and high school. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Okay. Doesn't help how the teacher relates to Black boys. And trust and believe, since Black women know that Black girls have to carry the family, guess who she's gonna prefer even in these classrooms? Continuing.
Talent shows, dances. There was a point that they even showed movies at our school. So we were an interrelated community of people who knew each other. Our mothers were in the club with our teachers.
Look at all the girls in that classroom. Okay. Look at all the girls in that classroom. How many boys do you see in this classroom? Okay. Look at all the girls in this classroom. But do we get any kind of recognition or any thanks or even a repayment of help by putting programs out for an underserved community called Black boys? No, you don't. Even today, Dr. Johnson will tell you. Okay, Black boys are still held back. Okay, because this stuff has been so embedded into the culture. Black women are incapable of saying in clear language how much they loathe us. We're constantly in the emperor has no clothes dichotomy. Their pathology is like Carl Jung's untamed shadow. It is. It really is. It's really not. It's really not even in the shadows. Okay, it's called they're lying.
Going to school with them in some cases. They were our friends. They were our kinfolk. We were socially integrated. The point I am making is that we had culture. We had community culture and we had school culture. Our heroes and icons were on the walls of our classrooms. Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass, George Washington Carver, Miss Mary McLeod Bethune, Martin Luther King, and Harriet Tubman. We looked at them every day and it meant something. And then the schools integrated and our culture was destroyed. All of a sudden, we didn't know anything. All of our icons were taken down from the walls. Even the trophies in our trophy cases were removed. Nothing could be left in a school that reminded us that we were Black. They put
schools. Now I was a child of the '60s. Okay, and I went to these schools. They still had up until the mid 1970s. They had segregated schools. That's not true. Okay. Okay, it wasn't destroyed during integration. That didn't happen until basically the '80s when schools really got integrated.
Put up all those academies in the South. Every little county in the South had some kind of academy for white children to attend, and most of them did attend those academies. But if one white child was in a school, that school was stripped of anything to do with Black culture. And that wasn't the worst of it. The school systems were constantly looking for ways to segregate the Black children from the white children. The first step was to retain the children. In the segregated schools, our teachers understood. They understood where we had come from. They understood a lot of children came from homes where their parents couldn't read and write and couldn't help them. So the Black teachers did intervention automatically. Nobody had to tell them that intervention is a program. They did the intervention and children passed. Not so when those schools integrated. There was no additional help for the children. So the main thing was to retain the children. In my hometown, just about every Black student that went to the predominantly white school was retained. My siblings and I were one of the few Black families where none of the children were retained. And retention is the first step to putting children in special education. And in those days, special education was a place. It wasn't a service, as the education department has made a point of coming out and saying now. It was a place. It was a place to isolate Black children and take them out of the main school population where the white children were, so that they felt rejected. Because remember, these people were really upset about the schools integrating. They did not want us in those schools. So the goal was to put as many Black students in special education classes as possible.
It is revisionist, and she's not telling the whole truth. The thing is, she's trying to blame. In other words, she's trying to take the focus off of white people. If she could blame Black men for this, she would. Her revisionist history of Black men is nothing short of treasonous. The thing is, it's very common. Okay, it's very common.
And this was a place that was somewhere at the end of the school building or even out of the building in a trailer away from the general population. But guess who the main target was for these special education classes? You guessed it, Black boys, the ones who had already missed out on the opportunities.
And what did Black women do? And these are your boys, okay? Unless I don't think there's some aliens in some alien factory off planet making Black boys and dropping them off into the community. Okay, these are your boys. What did you do? But you had no agency in this. None of this is your fault.
To get the foundation. Now, the system was radar focused on getting those Black boys out of the classroom and into some kind of special education arrangement. There are Black men in the South to this day that are ashamed to admit that they were placed in those special education.
Paul, I went to Westchester, okay? I went to a white school. I was bused, okay? But them Black, and wasn't no white people in them fucking Black schools in the South Central, bruh. Okay? There were still segregated schools. I went to a bunch of them. Okay? Those schools were still segregated.
Classes. This is a shameful blight on the American education system because it was done on purpose. This was done primarily to protect white girls. They did this to keep those boys away from the white girls, and there was nothing they wouldn't do to prevent that. Sometimes I think white girls gravitate to Black boys for this reason. It's a form of rebellion.
This is what's done to keep Black men away from Black girls, okay? It always comes back to what? Black men and Black girls, right? It always comes back to Black men and white women.
They were in class with these kids. They saw what was done. And I think there's something in them that makes them rebel against what they knew was wrong. So when they decide they're going to get with a Black guy, they get with a Black guy. And there's nothing that parents can do about it. But I think that these things are interrelated in some way. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I don't know how to break it down. But I believe that they are related. Black boys were segregated more than Black girls. This was a problem with Black boys. They weren't as focused on Black girls. Black girls got some of it, but Black girls didn't get the brunt of it. Plus, Black girls had a stronger foundation academically than Black boys.
A stronger foundation. So, and where did that foundation come from? If we're all going to the same Black schools, how come are Black boys mentally deficient where they can't get this foundation? We skip over that part. Because you can't blame Black women for anything. There's nothing that Black women did or could have done in any of these circumstances, right?
So Black boys suffered more from the fake integration. They were locked in those special education dungeons and in the low groups of every class, labeled dumb and couldn't do the work. And then, like a phoenix, They rose from the ashes. One thing was discovered that brought them into the marvelous light. The thing that Black men can always do. They can always do physical strength. Their athletic ability was discovered, and that brought them out of the darkness into the marvelous light. So they went from being the laughing stock of the school, isolated, rejected, labeled, to now being the most popular kids in the school. And everybody's bragging about how fast they can run that ball. And they run that game through high school, through college, and into professional sports. But in reality, they are right back where they started, building wealth for massa. But what about the ones that don't have the athletic ability and they are stuck in the dungeon? Well, these children become the class clown, or they just become straight out failures. They are the ones that are targeted to be taken out of circulation and put into free labor camps called prisons. So that's the plan. They build the prisons based on what the third grade class looks like. So what's happening in the Black community? This is what's happening to the Black community. Black boys don't get a good start. And the ones who do go on off, because now that the athletes have become popular with Massa and his children, especially his daughters, now he's going to get that girl that they isolated him from in the 5th grade. So that's his dream girl, because he couldn't have her then. So now he gets her. So he'll be okay until he does what those basketball players did, trying to scam the insurance company. And then they'll be in jail with the kids they were in special ed with years ago, Quantavious and Snooky Boy. But this is what's happened. The American education system failed black boys. This is what's wrong with Black men. Now, of the ones who don't end up in prison, well, a lot of the people who are wreaking havoc in the Black community have been to prison. And a lot of the ones who haven't been to prison have just checked out of life because they do not have the basic skills that it takes to function in a highly sophisticated society.
So in other words, but their mothers don't have anything to do with this, right? And the women that didn't get his sister got the skills, but he didn't. How come his sister can function and he can't? You're raised in the same family by the same mothers. And Pauli Murray is right. This system grinds up Black men, right? And guess who? Sometimes Black women are on the sideline watching it, okay? And sometimes guess what they're doing? They have their hand on the handle, grinding you up right along with them. Okay, Pauli Murray and the Black feminists handed the whole civil rights package to white women. Say the stuff that was supposed to fix Black men, according to the Monahan report. What'd you do? You wouldn't let him have it because you didn't trust him with it, right? Okay, he's not adequate to actually handle this. What do you do? We trusted with our white sisters first. Cannot make this shit up. This is why BGS in this sector is so important. Each and every Black man here prove her wrong, prove her thesis wrong, because we beaten the odds and have a way to fix Black men and leave Black women out of the benefits. Exactly. Well, they don't want you to escape, right? If they're waiting at the finish line, waiting for you to cross. Said Trump, okay, Trump for prison, okay. The kid's home life has more impact on him going to prison than the schools do. The schools are just hubs for fuck. That is very true. That is very true. But the thing is, you can't blame Black women, can you? Black Guru says you're about to elect a tether version of Black women grinders, president of the United States. Yep. But the thing is, this stuff is starting to come out. That's why I put up that piece about the Democratic Party, right? Okay. So all these AKAs and these sister girls and the gynocratic said you need to, you ain't Black and you're disloyal if you don't get with the Democratic Party, and there's no reason you should side with the oppressor. And what does she say? Okay. The Democratic Party, just like Black women, emasculates Black men, right? KMS says, okay, so Black male excellence, be it quick of his wit, brains, or by the sweat of his brow, brawn, has nothing to do with the external help by Black women. Excellent, fellas. We don't owe these hoes shit. Class dismissed. That's the whole thing, right? You know, I'll do that later, man. I'll do that in my, because it would take a bunch of time for me to go off. And I want to do this as a contiguous thought. So I'm gonna get through the rest of this, and then we're gonna go ahead and close out.
Like the one we live in. So if what's wrong with the Black community is Black men, and if 4 of the pillars of a civilization are dysfunctioning and education is one of those pillars, then the education system in the United States has failed Black boys. I do point the finger at the education system as well as the church and the home, but that's a discussion for another day. Those are discussions for another day. Now, the problem of Black men with education is an in-house problem. And I'm going to say, and this is my opinion, Black boys need to be in a Black church school from pre-K through at least the 5th grade. That's elementary school. As things stand now, Black boys collectively are not going to succeed unless they're in an environment where there is differentiated instruction, where they receive visual, auditory, and kinesthetic instruction, and above all, where there are teachers who know that they can do the work.
In other words, Black boys need their own fucking school. We've been saying that for fucking Kunjufu have been saying that for 40 years, okay? And guess who do not want Black boys to have their own goddamn school? Guess, class. Who's the first person to actually block this shit? It ain't white women. Been saying that to the rafters. Anyhow, continuing.
And require them to do it. The public school system in the United States has failed Black boys, it is true, but children need to have hands-on attention from their parents when they are in a learning environment. The school is not just somewhere to drop the children off. You have to be involved in their education. And I believe that in a church where the family belongs to the church or in some kind of a homeschool situation would be the best option for these children. The third option is for Black people to really stay on top of the educational program that their children are enlisted in. You have to stay on top of these things because nobody cares more about your children.
Give those boys to their goddamn father, okay? I'm afraid Kenyan, Ghanaian, and Nigerian women are starting to adapt this mindset as things become more westernized. Well, that is I've been taught about that for the past 7 years, okay? Go back and look at the Mouse Utopia, go look at demographics, go look at infrastructure, right? I've been saying this shit. Go look, we just did 2 videos on China, going through the exact same shit, okay? Exact same shit. Infrastructure, changing environment and culture all blended together, right? It's going to cause this stuff to shift. Now you guys have to get on top of that crap and keep the tangle of pathology out of your society, okay? If you don't, because guess what? The Chinese men ain't having that shit, okay? Chinese men said, I'd rather die alone than perpetuate this bullshit. That's what they're saying.
Than you do. So you have to be the primary investor in your children. You have to care more than anybody else. But what's wrong with Black men, one of the problems is education. Now we know that 10% of any group of people is going to be gifted. So the top 10% of Black boys are gifted. So we don't have to worry about them. They're going to make it no matter what happens. There's going to be another 10 to 15, maybe even 20% who's going to make it because of hard work and determination. They'll refuse to lose. And then you got that other large group that has to be dealt with. And that's the group that we have to be concerned about in Black America. So this is my solution. What's wrong with Black men? Well, our society has broken down. And there are problems with a breakdown. And one of the major problems with the breakdown with Black men is education. They need to be better educated. And that is a problem for the Black community. We cannot leave this to society or the government or white people. We have to do this. And I believe the church should be involved, or the synagogue or the mosque or whatever.
Guess who controls the church and why they're not involved, okay? Black women, okay? Who has the kids? Black women. Who's in control of the church? Black women. How come they don't do anything? 4 out of your 5 political office holders are Black women, or a Black politician are Black women. What do they do for the boys? 0. You have a so-called Black woman running for goddamn president of the United States. What has she said about the plight of Black boys? Okay? Or all those women that are co-signing her. What do they say about the plight of Black boys? 0. Get the picture? Anyhow, I think that's all. I think that's about it. That's all I want to play. You know, But and nowhere did she blame any of the women, right? The women, what's wrong with the black community has nothing to do with the women, does it? Okay. How do you fix the boys? Okay. How do you fix the boys? If you fix them. And guess what? Guess who they say has to fix the boys? The same, in other words, the men that have already been victimized for 200 years have to come back and actually correct the errors of these women. Now, women could voluntarily give give all those resources to the men so they can actually raise these boys. They don't. Men could actually get on a man's program. They don't. Men could actually stay with the father of their children. They don't. Children and men are a come up for black women. My brother's keeper. Did black women get 100% behind it, no matter what they thought about it? No, they killed it. There's a bill that's been sitting just a study. It's not even a bill to do anything. Okay, a study for black men and boys has been sitting there for 8 years. And the biggest killer of that bill is not black men, it's black women. It's black women. Anyhow, that's my key to go. That's my grandson saying I got to go help with homework. So I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna bounce. Okay, not the sharpest tool in the shed, but who's birthing these failing black boys? Okay, the birth parent is like a goddamn sea turtle. I birthed him. Mission accomplished. I swear the data points it out. Yes, it does. A mammal that eats their young is considered either disturbed or sick. So if a group of women sacrifice their sons, what does it make them? Black women are sick, but guess who they blame for the sickness? Guess who they blame for the sickness? They blame black. It's always Jermaine's fault, right? It's always Jermaine's fault. Let me see if there's Cash App so I can thank some people just in case. Passport OG. Don, appreciate you. Those are the Cash Apps. I think that is it. No, Mr. Blue Collar, appreciate you. And that is all. Okay. No, Kelvin. Kelvin has a Cash App for me. All right, appreciate you guys, man. I'm glad Mike showed up. I'm glad Mike gave us an update on his son, and he kind of pointed out to what I have been saying, okay, in which black women are, I understand why they are, is because their whole psyche, their whole self-worth is built, if they have children, retain their kids. Okay, I understand that, right? But it shows you why one of the biggest things you can actually do for your son, if you have one, especially as a black boy, is get that boy to his father, okay, as early as possible, okay, and give him, and don't just drop him and run, okay, because that's what black women do, right? Okay, the same support that he gave you, give that back to his father, right? A lot of black women, and something I refuse to do, okay. And shout out to our Art New Style, right? Okay. He ransomed his son, right? So in other words, he got his son and raised him while paying his wife child support for his son. He paid a ransom every month for his son's freedom. Shout out to him. I admire people like that. Guess what I wasn't gonna do? Because it was the same suggestion was given to me. Okay, pay her the child support and take the kids. And my black ass and my Sigma ass refuse to do that. No, if I'm going to bear the brunt and the cost and the effort of raising the kids, at the very least it should be even. But that's the mindset of the modern black women. Okay. I'll be in a minute, Mushu. I'll be in a minute. But that's all I got, folks. So let me get out of here. I got some homework to do. And I will see you guys on the next one. Said I know at least a half a dozen black men who have done that. That's some wicked, evil work. Yep, it is. But that's what we lived in. And we're gonna close with the with the opener, which is Dear Mama.
Muzika Deniz Şeker.